Almost done, guys. Just one more slice to power through, and then we're good. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the music. You like Huey Lewis in the news? How about we use this instead of the otamatonu? We use this. Doesn't sound right. It's out of tune and I don't feel like tuning it right now. We'll do that another day. Play chirp on guitar? No. Okay, let me shut that off. Shut that off. Okay. Are we ready? So, we'll get into it and get into the news that everybody's asking. Did SN15 hop today? The answer is no. It's scrubbed. There were concerns about weather, but we don't know why it's scrubbed. There was something. I have a really beginner KSP question. You can ask now. Go ahead, Panther. We need to start naming these newer roads. Come up with names then. It's always because we always ask when hop, but we never ask how hop. Yeah. Yeah. True story. Pun Lane. How about we call a dead-end road that we abandoned Pun Lane? I know, it's a good idea. Alright, so SN15 didn't go. And honestly, there isn't much space news around today.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
I mean, there is some other news, so that's going to take a second to talk about. All right. Did you see the second stage from China shaking my head? No, TJ, what about it? The 5B core stage? What, did it re-enter uncontrollably? Hey, Chief. Holy Friday is here for us today. Holy Friday for us is here today. Orthodox Easter the day after tomorrow. Happy Easter, man. The core stage will be an uncontrolled re-entry. Still coming down slowly, but it's tracking over Africa. I sent my question up there. All right. So when do I start my gravity turn? Is it different for every rocket? And if so, how do I figure out when for a new rocket? Trial and error logical really has a lot to do with it, especially if you're just playing Kerbal. When you're playing Kerbal, just yeet it. In real life, there's a lot of aerodynamic properties that determine when it's aerodynamic and it's thrust to weight that really determine when you can grav turn. Basically, you want to turn at the point where the rocket... Okay, all right. So, give me 1 second. It's been a couple of days, so I got to dust off all the rocketry stuff. So, what is your rocket ideally doing when it's going up? What is it doing? You're fighting against gravity, right? You want to go up, and then you want to go that way. You want to go up. For you guys, it's that way. You want to go up, and you want to go that way. Right? That's a first stage is usually designed to go up, make you go up, and then the second stage is designed to make you go that way. Now, with that being said, when you're launching, the rocket's thrust-to-weight ratio, right, needs to be higher than 1. If it's not higher than 1 and you go to release the rocket, it'll do a C launch and it'll fall into the flame trench. Yeah, that happened once. Good times. That's bad. So, it's dependent on TWR and it's dependent on aero. I mean, drag is a force that is impeding you from getting up into space, right? If your rocket has more drag, you're going to be fighting against aero and gravity. You ideally don't want to do that, so you want to make the rocket as aerodynamic as possible, which is why rockets resemble arrows for the most part, right? Like a bow and arrow, it looks exactly like that. Arrows fly through the air very easily because they don't disturb the air very much, right? The less you can disturb the air, the better, right? Now, TWR is the big one, all right? So, logical, you're getting into trigonometry here, okay? It's very, very basic trig. So, basically, when the rocket is pointing up, and I won't get too far into the trig. When the rocket's pointing up, all of the rocket is being used to fight against gravity. You would ideally want to start your grab turn where you could turn the rocket, and the thrust from the rocket, despite being like 45 degrees to gravity, right, will still push you upwards. You won't have a grab loss. That's what you ideally want to do. So it depends on how fast your rocket's going at certain times. I would say you really want to turn your rocket, ideally, when you break the sound barrier. That's really around where you should be doing it. And that should happen right around 10 kilometers. What I like to do is I have my rockets, I give them a little more thrust to weight, and I turn them a little bit. So the first stage can be used for some of the going downrange part, not necessarily just going up. And then when the rocket gets past maximum aerodynamic pressure, then I'll start really turning it over. I usually aim for a staging velocity near 900 meters a second, so your first stage will shut down when you hit around 900 meters a second. That's perfect. So, basically, yeah, it really depends on the thrust to weight of your rocket, and that just takes time to dial in the ascent trajectory. I mean, in Kerbal, Phase Master, yeah, you should just yeet it. Yeah. Anyway, let's get into the space news here. We got video. Let's start with the Russian news. There's not a lot of news today, but let's go. All right.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Debbie?
Четвертый стартовый день. В ближайшие часы стартовики проведут, готовя подстыковку заправочных рукавов к ракете. А здесь, на въезде на Восточный, встречают генерального директора госкорпорации «Роскосмос» Дмитрия Рогозина.
No captions this time around. All right. Let's figure this one out. Why do the Russians like space so much? The Russians... Spaceflight is part of their culture, man. At this point, just like space going into space is part of American culture. That's why I like the Russians so much. Space is important to those guys over there. Simple as that, man. It's part of their national pride. It's part of their culture. Like baseball is American, right? Like, and vodka is Russian. Vodka, potato, and launch rocket into space. And Lada. Always Lada. Yeah. They like space, dude. Just like we like space. They see space as vital to their national security. Just like we do. Same thing. I mean, it really is. It's, I am the captions. I'm the one who captions. I mean, yeah, same thing. I mean, China too. They're getting there, but they're getting there. You know? It's translation then. All right, let's go. Poyekali. Technically yesterday's news, but I finished my core stage roll time lapse this morning. It was over 7,000 frames and nearly 200 gigs. Oh, well, I'll be watching that. More SLS footage, Kyle? Yeah, please. Yeah. Huh. Alright, so.
Четвертый стартовый день. Ближайшие часы стартовики проведут, готовя подстыковку заправочных рукавов к ракете. А здесь, на въезде на Восточный, встречают генерального директора госкорпорации «Роскосмос» Дмитрия Рогозина.
Дмитрий Рогозина. I didn't get what he said. Whoa. Buttons.
Discovery, go and throttle.
Yamir, happy Friday. I did, Sebi. He's like, get away from me. Sorry, I can't ever stop it on a weird view like that. That's no good. That's also a bad one. There we go. All right, cool. Something. So that's Cosmodrome. What is that word though? I don't know what. Vasi, anything? This is so. I don't know what double O centralized. Centralized. That says centralized? Oh boy. Metal structure and basement are done. So these are support buildings for Vostochny, for the Cosmodrome. I know what that says.
Универсальная, уникальная ракета. Для ангары на Восточном создают всю необходимую инфраструктуру. Старт, командный пункт, технические сооружения, за ходом строительства которых Дмитрий Рогозин внимательно следит.
This is Angara's pad. That's Soyuz's pad at Vostochny. Look, you can see all the... Those are all the Russian spaceports. So there's Cosmodrome Plesetsk, Cosmodrome Baikonur, Cosmodrome Vostochny. That's the 3 Russian spaceports that they use the most. Baikonur is in Kazakhstan. That's what that says. Right there. That says Russia right there. Moscow's right there. Yeah, see? They're far apart from each other. Unified unique rocket. Rogozin is watching vigorously. Got it. Dmitry over there, he's like, that. You know what that face is, Vasi? I know that face. As an American, I know that. That's an I'm hungry face. All I have is water. Where is meat pie? I know that face. Look at that. That's a I'm hungry face. That's a when do we eat face. I don't rush it very much, but why is there 3 in Kazakhstan? So that's just one of the that's one of the characters that they use for letters, dude. That's the mobile service tower for Soyuz. That rocket's fully fueled, by the way. Hey, headphone users. Yeah, I'm turning this up. Headphone users, you've been warned.
Есть пуск. Зажигание. Предварительно. Промежуточно.
I like that.
10 секунд. Параметры системы управления ракеты-носителя в норме.
Все 36 космических аппаратов
выведены
на расчетные орбиты. Проведено 9 сбросов с разгонного блока в штатное время. Соответственно, было 11 включений и выключений разгонного блока. В целом мы видим от заказчика удовлетворение работой в целом всей системы выведения. Ну и, соответственно, мы продолжим эту работу в течение этого года, надеясь на то, что мы показали высокие конкурентные способности как ракет космического назначения, так и разгонного блока фрегат.
Oh, they broke it down.
Уважаемые товарищи, решите вас поздравить с началом работы. ВВ расчет Восточного демонстрирует стабильность, высокий профессионализм. В этом году у нас много работы, вы об этом знаете. Поэтому буду краток. Хочу вас поздравить с наступающими праздниками. Они будут длинными. Поэтому, надеюсь, немножечко передохнете. Ну а в целом сразу после этого...
Varna, that's cool, man.
Спасибо вам большое. Поздравляю вас.
I mean... Clap or you die. No. Yeah, those satellites were made in Florida, dude. The ones that they just launched. Thank you and congratulations. Hey. He's visiting Vostochny almost every other day. Yep, yep. Cool. Alright, speaking of Vostochny, that comes to the next news here. What do we got here? 2 Fregat upper stages are being prepared at the Vostochny Cosmodrome. The launch of the 4th batch of 36 OneWeb satellites is scheduled for May. The 5th fully commercial launch is expected in July. There you go. There's a Fregat upper stage. And then there's a Soyuz payload attachment fitting and fairing attachment fitting. Yeah, the editing in that video is, yeah, throwing me off. Definitely not the regular editor. Cool. Cool. So yeah, OneWeb satellite just went off, and they got another one in May. OneWeb's really trying to catch up to Starlink. That's really what's going on. New KSP2 show and tell. I'll do that at the end of Space News. All right, what else do we got? OneWeb needs to. Yeah, I would say you're probably right, Steven. I believe he said push B, давай. OneWeb launches 36 satellites per launch on Soyuz. I don't know much about Mr. Rogozin. Is he involved in the daily work and engineering like Elon is with SpaceX? Does he have an engineering degree too? No, Bill. In that regard, Dmitry is more like Jim. Yeah. Dmitry is a Russian politician. Yeah. But I think that the guy really likes space because he sought out that job from Mr. Wideman. He sought out that job when Roscosmos was nationalized in 2018. Yeah, Savorian, we'll get to it. Sure. So the Russians nationalized it. So the Russians had a privatized space program basically from the collapse of the Soviet Union all the way to 2018. It was privatized. So they were private corporations, private investment. etc., etc. The Russians renationalized their program in 2018. So they made it all state-owned again. The state bought out all the Roscosmos. They bought out Kurnichev. They bought out Energia. They bought out everything. So when that happened, I was reading about Dmitry Rogozin. He led a couple of different Russian political parties. He's a very, very big Russian nationalist, and he led a bunch of parties like in that regard. Like he's a Russia first kind of guy. Like I can understand that. That makes sense. And then it seems like he very much sought out this position. I think he likes space. If you really want my honest opinion, I think he likes space flight because he didn't have to run Roscosmos. He went for that job. He said multiple times on Twitter that his dad worked on the Buran program, so I'm guessing he was introduced to spaceflight at a very young age. His dad worked on Buran, the space shuttle, their space shuttle. So I think he's like Jim in that regard. That's who he's the most like, if I had to guess. Yeah, interesting guy, Bill. He's I mean, I think he likes space, and I think he's done a good job, if you really want my honest to God opinion. I mean, Roscosmos was a crapshoot, or what the equivalent of it would be, was a crapshoot for a long time. Yeah, a really long time. And his grandfather was a fighter pilot. Yeah, some street name ideas. Sounds good to me, Swag. Do it. We're making a new space plane today. I'm not sure. So, yeah, he's a Jim who can roast you on Twitter. Yeah. I'm pretty sure, from what I understand, that he sought out that job at Roscosmos because he likes space, and he's been trying to fix the space program, and that's a tall order, man. I mean, dude, that's one of those projects, like, in regards to, like, if you compare it to, like, Elon Musk, like, once again, I don't think Dmitry is, like, a counterpart to Elon Musk by any means. I don't think he's an engineer, but he's a manager. He's a politician. So, dude, there was a lot of waste. I mean, we whine about waste over here with NASA programs. Holy crap. Roscosmos was nuts. Like, or what it was supposed to be was pretty bad. There was a lot of waste, and he's cleaned up a lot, and he's basically kind of whipping it back into shape, to be honest with you. I mean, all the new stuff that's coming out of Russia, like the new rockets. I mean, Angara was a Ministry of Defense project, so that's Angara for the Russians is what, like, Atlas V and Delta IV are for the US, for the Space Force. It's assured access to space for the Ministry of Defense. So we have the Department of Defense, they have the Ministry of Defense. It's the same thing. No, Supercraft, Elon would pull his hair out in politics because nobody makes any sense. Yeah, there's a lot of corruption. A lot of corruption. Dmitry went in there and he fixed that. I mean, part of it is that he has the Russian president behind him, backing him, so he can go in there and be like, no, this is bullcrap, screw you guys. I mean, that's not something that you'd see over here too much. But yeah, he's been he got at the helm of the ship and steered him back on an even course so they didn't get stuck in the canal, so to speak. It's a good enough analogy. Why not? Yeah, but anytime, I haven't gotten to that yet. But, like, I genuinely think that the guy's doing a good job. I'll admit, the space station stuff is a little like, okay. But it feeds into something that I'm thinking about. Like, a lot of people have been asking me lately, like, what do you think of the Russian space station? Why would they pull out of the ISS? I don't think they're pulling out of the ISS, if you really want my honest opinion. You're getting rid of a revenue source at that point because they have to fly mixed crews. So, Americans will keep flying on Soyuz, and you'll have, I mean, you basically have a seat exchange at that point. But I don't understand the want to get rid of a revenue stream like that. But if you have your own station, then I suppose it's not that big of a deal. Well, Stephen, we'll figure that out very soon, won't we? Everyone sees the Russian orbital space station as fiction. Yeah, that one I don't get, Kem. Did I miss something? Did I miss something here? Like, oh, we don't have the money to do it. What? Why does everybody keep saying that? If you don't clap, you're dead. Yeah, I mean, hey, they do things differently over there than we do, and I get it. Kem, why do people keep saying that? I don't understand, and maybe you guys can help me on this one. Why do people say the Russians don't have the money to launch their own space station? You think it's a ploy to get the U.S. to pay Russia to stay invested in the ISS? I very much disagree. I very much think they have the cash to build their own space station. I mean, I only follow the damn space station I follow what Roscosmos does on a daily basis. I mean, they are like, I don't know, man. Okay, T-Man, I got it. Skepticism based off of what was happening in the past 30 years. They have a right to think that way. Because if they could build their own station, why would they be trying to privatize the ISS? Guys, I think it's a response to NASA's commercial low Earth orbit destinations program. If you really want my honest opinion, NASA is going to work on building private space station destinations in low Earth orbit. It's one of their BAA projects that they're working on. On top of having the International Space Station, there's going to be some tie-over. A good example of that would be like Axiom Space, which Axiom is going to add modules to the station. We don't know for sure what will happen with the Russian part of the ISS past 2025. Yeah, there's been nothing concrete, which is interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. Like, I don't think that they don't, like, and that goes back to feeding in about, like, Dmitry Rogozin. I think he's done a good job, if you really want my honest opinion. He's done a good job with the hand that he's been dealt. And the other thing to take into account, guys, and this is what's super important. This is an important thing to understand, okay? And keep in mind, if you're from the West, if you're American, or you're from Europe or something, this might not make a lot of sense, okay? But keep in mind, different people do things differently. So, Roscosmos is a state-owned corporation. Operative word, corporation. They're making money for the state. That's the purpose. That is the explicit purpose. It's not NASA. That's not how NASA works. NASA's different. Believe it or not, NASA's more like social. It's more on the socialist side of things than Roscosmos is, if you really want to know, which is weird. That's funny. How did that happen? I don't know. But Roscosmos is a corporation. So you got to remember, Dmitry is running this like a company. He's running a company. All right. He's not running a scientific outfit like NASA. All right. So profit is important. That's very important. Not really. They're not just about money. It's about what a country can do. Yeah, Russian space is more capitalistic than the U.S. Yeah, Vasya, how the hell did that even happen? How does that even happen? Like, all right. It's true. It's really true. I mean, you're not wrong. Like, strangest thing. Their position is that the Russian segment past 2025 will be more expensive to maintain than building a new station. I mean, it's true, Kem. I understand that. So, you gotta kind of understand it from that regard. They're there to make cash. But, Kem, I think you're right in the regard that Dmitry is, like I said, he is a Russian nationalist. wants Russia to be big, strong Russia. And I get it. Trust me, I totally get it. There's plenty of people over here that are like that with the States as well. Like, I understand that. Like, we don't need to be like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, hey, I don't know enough about Russian politics to really know that. You know what I mean? Like, that's out of my league. So I'm going to go ahead and guess that because his dad worked on the space program, because his grandpa was a fighter pilot, if you had a person like that over here running the space program, it would be a lot about prestige as well. But just like with NASA, there's no reason you can't do both of those things. Everybody can ride the money train if you know what you're doing. You know, like, I get it. I understand where he's coming from. Like, that, whenever I try to understand the Russian space program, I try to just take Mr. America and put it over here for a little while and look at it through, you know, from Dimitri's point of view. I think that is very important to understand what's going on over there, and I don't think a lot of people do that. Weird point of view, but okay. I'll check it out. More difficult to add new modules and integrate them with old tech that are failing on multiple levels at this point. Nauka is the exception. Yeah, more difficult to add new modules. I mean, yeah, Cam, it's interesting. I suppose, Forge, if we wanted to do that. But I think the Russians are basically... Okay, so we want to talk perspective here. So, the Russians have a revenue stream in the ISS. And it is getting expensive, but it's still a revenue stream nonetheless. All right? And it could lead to more seats and commercialization of space, which makes them money. Just like sending science experiments up to the ISS makes us money, and then there's also commercial crew. There's that whole thing. I get it. You're not sure what's going to happen. You're not sure what's going to happen with the ISS over the next couple of years. And more importantly, the Russians can't scale fast enough to be able to build a rocket that gets out to the moon, where the revenue will ultimately go. So why wouldn't you build your own space station? You'd want to build your own space station to be able to bridge that gap of time. Think about this for a second. You'd want to be able to bridge that gap, okay? So what does that mean? The Russians don't have super heavy lift. They can't send stuff to the moon. They could, with Ankara, docking stuff in low Earth orbit and then going. But see, that's something I'm not sure that they have the cash to do right now, or they have the infrastructure to do it. But that's another story. If the Russians are going to get super heavy lift back and they're going to figure out a way to send stuff reliably to the moon, even if you're just using Angara, or do you use NSA, or do you use Irtush to put people up there with the Oriole capsule and dock everything together, even if you do that, there is a gap from like 2025 to about 2030 where there's no reason to launch anything into space. You don't have your own... The ISS is gone. The Americans and international people are going to the moon. China's going to try to go back to the moon too. So where's your revenue stream for the latter half of this decade? There is none, unless you build your own station. Because if I were the Russians, you can't rely on the International Space Station being there, especially if there's a catastrophic failure, right? What if the station blows up or something? What if something goes wrong? You have to abandon the station. Then you have nothing to launch to. You have no Soyuz. The Soyuz and the Progress production lines go shut off. So the Russians are hedging their bets. That's what makes the most sense to me. They're hedging their bets just in case. That's why they haven't like fully committed to one or the other. It's no, we're not going to conclusively leave. We'll assess it in 2025 or we have the space station and these modules could be for the ISS, but they're going to be for ROSS instead. You see what I'm talking about? Dimitri's hedging his bets. He's making sure that no matter what happens, he has a plan. There's a contingency plan there. That makes the most sense to me. I don't know, Qualified, maybe. What if each country had their own station? I think the Russians are making a national station for two reasons. First, they gain private research space. Second, they're going to sell research. Yeah, I mean, they can do that on the ISS right now, though, Ga. What if they build the station together with China? The Russian orbital station is not going to be involved with Tianhe and the Tiangong 3 program. We know that for a fact. Because the Russians tried to ask China. Dmitry went to China's space program, and he asked them if they could put the station at an inclination where they could make one big station, and the Chinese said no. They're like, no. Nope. Interesting, huh? Yeah, that's a strange one. So, yeah, interesting position over there, but I think what they're trying to do is hedge their bets. That makes the most sense to me. Another point is that military research can't really be done on the ISS. Yeah. Hey, Rocket Guy. I mean, Supercraft, Zarya and Zvezda were built for Mir 2 in the 80s. In the 80s. That's how old those modules are. So, yeah, they're getting up there. But then again, a lot of the ISS design was first drafted out for the Space Station Freedom Project, also from the 80s. So, I mean, take it for what you will. They can't change the inclination, otherwise Long March 5B might not be able to get it into a working orbit. That is just my guess. Cam, did you see the paint coming off that rocket when it was going up into space? Did anybody else notice that? The paint coming off the rocket and then the skirt on one of the boosters just falling off? Did anybody else notice that? Just on a side note? Yeah. I thought it was going to break, I'll be honest with you. And burning. It's made in China. It's supposed to be that way. Okay, alright. Next news. I was kind of hoping for a pop. Nah, not for a civilian space station, Moist. But yeah, I understand the sentiment. American components, Russian components, all made in China? Last, serious question about the rocket. How does the rocket know where it is? Ground tracking stations. And inertial measuring units, IMUs. You missed the joke. But you said serious question a second ago.
Okay, hold on. Where does it hurt?
My stomach. ちゃんと痛いけど痛い。
救急車を呼んでもらったからといって安心はできません。しっかりと自分の状態を相手に伝えましょう。
I have a bad case of diarrhea.
私はひどい下痢です。
I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea.
I have a bad case of diarrhea.
This is for you, Flykin. You did
I
this.
have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea.
肩に手を乗せ I have クロスして A bad case お腹をさすって of diarrhea ジェスチャーゲームの要領です。感情を込めてやってみましょう。
I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea.
The new K-pop hit? Yes. That was for you. Time to switch headsets. Report me for inappropriate content. I'm sorry. You guys brought that. Chat brought that on itself. That's Flykin's fault. I'm not backing down from this. I still hate you for this. More like K-poop hit. Oh my god. I don't know what to think. What kind of place is this? The real question is that copywritten? Oh man. You know what, Nicholas? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's okay. More like K-poop hit. That's good. I like that. Is this where you hit the brown streak in your career? Yes. Yes. My man. All right. Anyway. All right. Speaking of crap sandwiches. I have a bad case of diarrhea. No, I mean, all I was doing is prepping you guys for this next thing. Ugh, do we have to? Oh, boy. Dynetics HLS protest argues NASA should have been revised, Dynetics HLS protest argues NASA should have revised competition after budget shortfall. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. NASA should have revised its approach to the Human Landing System program or withdraw the solicitation entirely once it was clear the agency didn't have the funding to support two companies. Oh, man, this is going to piss a lot of people off. Oh, man, this is going to piss a lot of people off. Dynetics, you filed the protest April 26 with the Government Accountability Office over NASA's decision to make a single HLS Option A award to SpaceX, argued that NASA chose the most anti-competitive and high-risk option available. When it decided to proceed with a single award despite receiving only about 1/4 of the $3.3 billion... Wait a minute, hold on. When it decided to proceed with a single award despite receiving only about 1/4 of the $3.3 billion it requested for the program in fiscal year 2021. Okay. In light of this new budget constraint and schedule change, the HLS program as originally conceived and as set forth in the solicitation is no longer executable. They got a point. I said that. I said that right when I said it's sole source. That's not a good idea. That's going to come back to bite you. And here it is. Okay, you win. I'd rather K-poop over this. All right. Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. I receive hilarious moment on stream. You receive poop. Competition is good, but a budget is a budget. Yeah, we can get it. We'll get into this in a second. Let me keep reading. I'm interested what Jeff has to say about this. These alternatives. Hold on. Dynetics has protest copy which was obtained by Space News. Accordingly, NASA has several reasonable and lawful alternatives to choose from in connection to this acquisition. Those alternatives, the company argued, included amending the solicitation, or which they did, or withdrawing it entirely and starting over, given its incompatibility with the severe budget constraints that NASA faced. The agency could have opened discussions with bidders and allowed them to revise their proposals, something NASA did only with SpaceX. Uh-oh. Yep. I was afraid of that. I seem to recall that, when I read the source selection statement, I said, this sounds like they only went to SpaceX to revise their budget. Everyone said, no, EJ, they went to all three. No, you were wrong. I was right. Boom. Finger guns. I didn't say no, Rocky. I was like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. No. I said that could be dangerous. Not dangerous in like a safety thing, but they only went to SpaceX to revise their budget proposal. But here's the thing, guys. So if we want to play technicality now, chat was right in the regard that NASA had already chosen SpaceX, and that restructuring of cost was part of their negotiations post-contract Option A award. So, all right, we're getting into legal jargon again. All right. So the reason why NASA even approached SpaceX at all was because they were going to select them. They selected SpaceX and said, okay, let's negotiate prices now. How are we going to do this? All right. If you really want to be technical, and this is all coming, we know that for a fact because it's all coming from NASA's source selection statement on option A for the human landing system. So that is, the source selection statement has all that information in there. So how does it feel to be right? Horrible, Rem. Yeah, this is not good. This is not good. I mean, it's gonna delay the lunar program. NASA did describe in the statement why they didn't go to anyone else. They said the difference between order budget was so great that it wasn't worth negotiating with the other two bidders. Yeah, but see, that's not how that works. That's not how that works at all, Toothless. It's a conflict of interest if you don't approach all bidders equally as the person that's providing the source selection. So, as crappy as it is, as big a piece of crap you want to call Dynetics, they have a point. And that sucks. This is what I mean. When you're doing legal jargon, you have to make sure you cross all your T's and dot all your I's. If you leave something open, something like this can happen. They also changed the selection criteria mid-solicitation. Originally, the price criteria was the least important, but it was bumped up to 2 to 3 over management criteria. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. That's no good at all. NASA, okay, so this is coming from Mike Sheets. NASA tells SpaceX that work on its recently won HLS contract is suspended until the Government Accountability Office resolves the protests filed this week by Leidos and Blue Origin. Stupid piece of monkey! Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, Steven, maybe the diarrhea song was topical. You play it where it lies. You. No, seriously. Okay, comedy jokes aside, guys, this is what happens if you don't do your homework. You got to cross the T's and dot the I's, especially when there's money thrown around, and especially when it's law. Like, you can't... If there's any people that are even well-versed in law at all here, or at least partially versed in law, you'd know that. You have to do this stuff. You can't... NASA can't say, this is what's important to us, and they get 3 bids back, and they look at SpaceX and say, oh, yeah, this is good. Hey, if you just change that price up a little bit, dude, yeah, we're going to go with you. You cannot do that. That's a conflict of interest. And that's going to end up biting you in the rear because you're going to get a program delayed. I think you're reading too much into this. What? What are you talking about? I think you're wrong. How about that? Like, what are you talking? What do you mean I'm reading too much into it, TJ? think that people here don't really understand how law works. That's fine though. I watched an episode of Law and Order. Does that qualify me as an expert? Yes. Yeah, guys. First and foremost, before everybody gets their jimmies all rustled and stuff, and don't get me wrong, I was doing the censoring thing because I felt like quoting Happy Gilmore. Okay, this is par for the course with defense contracts. This stuff happens all the time. Guys, even if Dynetics didn't, even if NASA had went to all three contractors and did everything by the book, they'd still protest it. That's just how it works. If they got something, but the thing is that they have a point. They have a point. NASA, they could sit there and they could argue that NASA favored SpaceX the entire time. And now, I'm not talking about a point from common sense. Okay, I'm talking about point from there's legal grounds here.
I'm going for a walk.
Okay, have fun.
I will.
Yeah, TJ, I know. I'm not talking about that though. You're not following me. I know that. I'm past that point. That would have happened anyway. I said that when we were playing Minecraft this afternoon. You may not have been here for that, but so that's why I chose to say it. That's why I chose to say it. Got to note that NASA didn't choose SpaceX because they changed their prices. They picked them and then they asked them to change their price structure. Exactly. That's a point there, and that's awesome. I don't know if that'll hold up in the court though. That's the thing. I mean, Buck, yeah, that Starship's gonna happen anyway. Yeah, protesting is a part of this process. I don't think for a second that just because an offer is selected that ends the selection period. Yeah, that's true. But how do you prove they were chosen first? NASA announced that in their source selection statement, dude. Overruled. Good call. Nice, Tay. Yeah, I mean. Let's keep reading. Let's see. I'm interested. Those alternatives, the company argued, included amending the solicitation or withdrawing it entirely and starting over given its incompatibility with the severe budget constraints. The agency could have opened discussions with bidders and allowed them to revise their proposals, something NASA only did with SpaceX. Yeah, see right there. I mean, that's kind of a point, but it's also kind of not. They were going to choose them anyway. They already had chose them, like what you said, awesome. One option, sources familiar with the protest told Space News, okay, sources say, let's see what we got, was for NASA to make multiple awards for a particular contract oh boy. Okay. Was for NASA to make multiple awards for a particular contract line item number or CLIN in the request for proposals for sustaining requirements and preliminary design. That would have allowed companies to work on concepts for a lander for the later, more sustainable phase of the Artemis program. The whole mechanism was set up to be very flexible, and they didn't really use the flexibility they had. NASA's decision, Dynetics argues, effectively locks SpaceX in as a lunar landing provider for the foreseeable future. In making this decision, NASA walked away from the ground rules for the HLS program, effectively converting this option A into a lowest price, technically acceptable LPTA competition and eschewing any future competition for the HLS program. Indeed, the anti-competitive impact and downstream effect of NASA's changed acquisition strategy cannot be overstated. Huh. Okay. Again, it doesn't matter if they were already chosen. The protest is stating that NASA changed the rule set in the weighting selection criteria changed. Yeah, that's... Excuse me. One hop. Martes. Lunes o martes. Oh no. Gracias, amigo. De nada. Oh no! Anyway. NASA said it will pursue competition in a later competition for follow-on lunar landing services. The agency released a request for information on April 28th, asking companies for feedback on a future lunar exploration transport services contract. Yep, right there. That would allow companies to sell NASA routine transportation services for astronauts in the Artemis program. We're still a few steps away from being able to issue the LETX contract for requests for proposals. We are continuing our quest to refine acquisition strategies to ensure government-industry partnerships are streamlined for companies that want to become providers to the government and other clients in the emerging lunar marketplace. Oh boy. However, industry sources say they don't understand why NASA didn't take advantage of the flexibility in the HLS solicitation to allow it to support other providers now through the sustainable lander option in the HLS solicitation. There are knobs that NASA can turn to keep competition now. Putting out an RFI for something that's a couple of years from now, well, there's not going to be anybody left. 2 years from now, other than billionaires who can choose to keep things around, you're not going to have others left in the game that are going to give you real competition. Guys, I want to buy a Ferrari. Price? No. 2 years down the road, 2 years down the road, I need a Ferrari now. So 2 years down the road, I can race the Ferrari. So you need to give me money now so I can buy a Ferrari. See, I even have the shirt and everything. It doesn't matter if I can't afford it. I need it now. See, those people that already have Ferraris, there will be no competition in the future in racing if you don't buy me a Ferrari right now. Roll Tide, baby. Roll Tide, Arsenal. Hell yeah. Mac Jones, dude. Don't buy a Ferrari. You might as well burn a stack of $100 bills. Yeah, but Kuro, if I want to race Ferraris, I need a Ferrari right now, or else I won't be competitive. The only people that will be competitive down the road are billionaires. It doesn't matter if I can't afford it. No, I'll be honest. I understand where Dynetics is coming from. I get it. But that's an interesting way to put that if you want to, like, I don't know, man. I go to school at Bama. Draft parties were huge last night. Excited for Mac Jones, dude. He's going to be Tom Brady 2.0. And he has Belichick. Oh, Belichick and Mac Jones, dude. Oh, that's going to be money. I'm super excited. Roll Tide, brother. You know, Arsenal, Mac Jones from Alabama, right? Bama guy. Do you know what else is made in Alabama? Rockets. Here it is. Oh. But in this analogy, maybe I should learn how to drive first. Well, if you give me money, I'll learn how to drive, builder. Maybe they thought the competition was more about equity. Yeah. The issue is that SpaceX will have a 2-year and a $3 billion head start over anyone looking to compete with them down the line. SpaceX will no doubt apply for that Let's contract. No, because I understand what they're saying. It's just... Yeah, I mean... I get it. I understand what they're saying. Yeah. It's just... Do we want to land on the moon or not? Me too, 2020. It's a bad argument. If the competition will abandon their efforts so easily, they weren't serious to begin with. Oof. Harsh. Screw Bama, just saying. Yeah, whatever. Hey, Sawyer, where's your rockets? Oh, wait, you don't have any. Can't Jeff do something about that if he wants to? Philip, rich people don't stay rich by spending money frivolously. Like, we could sit here and we could come up with 1,000 reasons to not like Jeff Bezos, but yeah, I mean, why don't you spend more? Why don't you spend billions more dollars on your space program that you already spent $1 billion on? Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jeff didn't become rich listening to people like that. Can you see last? Sure. Hey, make 71-month resub. I think it's important to note that the GAO process is literally the same as an appeal after a jury returns a guilty verdict. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, guys, I don't know. On one hand, my biggest gripe with the source selection, with the selection statement for the HLS is that they chose one lander. But, okay. So you want Jeff to spend less money on spaceships? No, I'm saying it's his money and he can spend it however the hell he wants. I'm grateful that he actually spends it on something that I want. Does that make sense? Gosh, it sounds like the world's just unfair. Maybe NASA was concerned that they were not guaranteed any further funding increase in the future. Well, boring. They had an option. They could have. This is what Dynetics means by pulling this. They could have basically just sat on that money and waited and not awarded a selection contract until next year. That was that was an amendment to the well, not an amendment. I don't think that was the amendment to the BAA. I think that was just something that they could have done, but they didn't. They chose SpaceX. Now, okay, so let's understand this. Now look at it. Okay, shift everything from unfair, $1 billion, shift it and look at it from NASA's point of view. You guys got to understand, at this particular point in time, NASA's goal is still, by law, to get to the moon in 2024. That's still a goal until somebody else, until what's-his-face changes it. You know what I mean? The big guy in the White House. Till he changes it, okay? If he doesn't want to change it, then that's the law. Like, what do you want to do? But I do understand where Dynetics is coming from. If they can prove conflict of interest, well, guess whose fault that is, guys? I don't think that they will, to be honest with you. I don't think that that's what's going to happen, but it might. Who knows? Yeah, Steven. Yeah, exactly. The sour grapes of it all is that SpaceX is going to the moon with or without. Yeah, Geek. I think that SpaceX is just going to keep working on Lunar Lander. They actually might be contractually obliged to not, believe it or not, but they're going to work on Starship either way, so. It's just a bump in the road. It's just, guys, I just think this is a bump in the road. And TJ, that kind of goes back to what you were originally saying. This would happen either way, and even if Dynetics is onto something, I don't think it's going to stop SpaceX. Yeah, but Dynetics is too heavy to land, and the national team's proposal was a full redesign to be reusable. I get competition is needed, but we don't need bad ideas. And Cornbread, you know what's funny? When Doug Lavero stepped down as the head of HEOMD for NASA because of that whole conflict of interest thing from the lunar lander bids, everyone said it was, oh, it's an insider job. It's an insider job. It's an insider job. He got paid to do it. No, I don't think that's what's going on. You really want my honest opinion? I said that then. I'll say this now. I think NASA doesn't like a 3-stage lander option, if you really want my honest opinion. I don't think they like Dynetics' option either. There, I said it. Yeah, boring, pretty, yeah, no, that's a good point. Let's be honest though, Musk has had to fight through the worst. Yeah, of course. Don't think Builder, don't think if this scenario was reversed that SpaceX wouldn't be ringing the GAO's doorbell constantly right now. Ding 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 ding. This is it. This is unfair. This is unfair. And that goes back to what we were saying. Guys, welcome to defense contracts. It is cutthroat as hell, and you have to fight tooth and nail for every bit of money that you can get. That's how this should work. That's how it has to work. There's really no other good way to do it. If Dynetics screws up SpaceX's plans, can't they sue him or something? I don't think that's... On what grounds? What's going to be built across from the Apple Store? Yotel. I think that Doug Lavero went to Boeing and said, build us a 2-stage option because... These other options aren't very, very viable for sustainable presence because not because they're expendable. Dynetics' option really isn't it's not expendable per se, but what exactly is SpaceX suspending in the HLS work? Qualified nothing. They can just choose to work on other things right now. Yeah, interesting. So, like, guys, at the end of the day, 2 things. I think it's important to understand that this is kind of the norm for defense Welcome to defense contracts, guys. It's been this way for a long time. It's been this way for a while. There's always been weird contracts there, weird contracts here, unfair crap there. I mean, and this isn't anything new. This goes all the way back. I mean, if anybody here familiar with the B-36? The B-36 won contracts because Convair lobbied the hell out of the government to get contracts for bombers. And it turned out the B-36 was a technological dead end. It was a piece of junk. Cool, but a piece of junk. Like, don't get me wrong, B-36s are sick. That's a cool plane. But it's also a piece of junk. It was extremely susceptible to overheating. And that's not what you need when you're carrying bombs around, is your plane to catch on fire. Yeah. Oops. So, guys, I'm telling you, this ain't anything new. How about the bait and switch of the Super Hornet? Yeah. Welcome to defense contracting. Is SpaceX lobbying too? Bozzard, SpaceX lobbies billions of dollars. Oh yeah, SpaceX lobbying team is no joke. Everyone does it, guys. This is just par for the course, man. SpaceX lobbied billions of dollars. They went back and they said it was illegal to exclude them in 2014. They said it was illegal to exclude them from launching defense missions because their rocket wasn't EELV certified. And oh yeah, they made a big fuss about it. Elon went to court himself in 2014. He went to court in 2014, and they went to bat with ULA, and ULA made such a fool of themselves that they fired the CEO. Oh yeah, SpaceX lobbies. They fired the CEO and replaced him with that guy. Yeah, Elon assassinated him in front of a freaking Senate subcommittee. It was hilarious, actually. Not really, but they were arguing like criteria for what makes a successful mission, and ULA was arguing that you can have bumps in the road and the mission would still be successful. And then Elon said, well, our failed Dragon mission when the engine didn't light and we didn't get to our destination was a successful contract by ULA standards. And the ULA guy said, what? Yeah, can we watch it? Hang on. Let me see if I can find it. All right, here we go. Yeah, I think I got it here. Let's see. Watch. SpaceX lobbies. Elon himself goes to bat, dude. Watch this. This is nuts.
Launches is a great record.
I would. Although
let's back up.
Consecutive launches is a great record.
I would. Although I'd like to point out that there were two highly publicized failure investigations. One for Delta IV Heavy, one for Atlas. The Air Force conducted failure investigations. ULA has a very good track record. It is just not quite as perfect as 68 perfect launches.
Mr. Gass, you have any response to that?
We measure the mission success by our customers' declaration. And so if they declare that the satellite and the mission is success, we use the same record. And why it's that important, because our profit is tied to a mission success. If we don't deliver it, it's not only we forfeit our profit, but potentially get a penalty. So the declaration is about the on-orbit capability, and that's how we measure success.
Mr. Musk, in October 2012, I believe this is right, a secondary payload aboard a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket was sent into the wrong orbit because one of the 9 Merlin engines powering the rocket failed. What recourse did the owner of the secondary payload have in that situation to recover damages? In other words, what's next? What was next?
Right. Well, by ULA's definition of success, that mission was perfect.
No, what was next?
Right. Well, by ULA's definition of success, that mission was perfect.
By an unknown enemy.
I got fired for that, man. No joke. That's so bad. Oh, God. Oh, my God. This dude freaking destroyed. Stop! He's already dead! Yeah, he got... The ULA CEO got canned after that, and they put Tori Bruno in his place. You guys know who was asking on that subcommittee, right? You know who that was, right? It's Richard Shelby. The guy that says everybody's Mr. SLS. Yeah, no, dude, he set him up for that. Did you see? Did you? Dude, he set him up. Like, come on, dude. They tag teamed that guy. It was so bad. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. So the point is that, oh yeah, SpaceX goes all over the place, dude. They lobby like crazy, and they'll go to bat in there. Now, that's kind of why I like him, because Elon himself just go in there and just be like, nah. Link. You want to watch it again? You guys, all right, we'll watch it one more time.
Is a great record.
I would, although I'd like to point out that there were two highly publicized failure investigations. One for Delta IV Heavy, one for Atlas. The Air Force conducted failure investigations. ULA has a very good track record. It is just not quite as perfect as 68 perfect launches.
Mr. Gass, you have any response to that?
We measure the mission success by our customers' declaration. And so if they declare that the satellite and the mission is success, we use the same record. And why it's that important, because our profit is tied to a mission success. If we don't deliver it, it's not only we forfeit our profit, but potentially get a penalty. So the declaration is about the on-orbit capability, and that's how we measure success.
Mr. Musk, in October 2012, I believe this is right, a secondary payload aboard a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket was sent into the wrong orbit because one of the 9 Merlin engines powering the rocket failed. What recourse did the owner of the secondary payload have in that situation to recover damages? In other words, what's next? What was next?
Right. Well, by ULA's definition of success, that mission was perfect.
Oh my god. So, to answer your question, yes, SpaceX lobbies like crazy. Everyone does, dude. It's so bad, man. Oh my god. The guy in the back was like, finish him! Oh my god. That whole subcommittee meeting should be around somewhere. Link it? Yeah, here, I'll see if I can find the whole thing.
2000.
Yeah, I found it. Here it is. The whole meeting is there. It's an hour and 20 minutes long. Yeah, phase. I mean, yeah, no, that's what I mean. SpaceX. So, okay, you got to understand the context of why this meeting is happening. That meeting is happening because SpaceX is arguing that, you know, they're good enough to launch defense payloads into space. An argument that they actually won, by the way. But to even get this audience, to get to this point, they lobbied like crazy. And that's not a bad thing, dude. That's fine. Like, I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. How does lobbying work? Well, if you make a contribution to a politician, right? They'll help represent you. Like, I know some people probably have problems with that, and people that have problems with that aren't unfounded. Let me put it that way. But yeah, the SpaceX lobbies, everyone does. And the larger point that I'm trying to illustrate here is that SpaceX, like, everybody's barking up Dynetics' tree because, oh my god, you guys suck, you're delaying the lunar program, blah, blah, blah. SpaceX would do the same thing if the situation was reversed. And the real question I have for people, and I said this the other day, the real question I have for people is that if this situation was reversed and SpaceX had lost the HLS contract, would you guys be upset that they're protesting? Would you? Careful with that answer. You can't be upset when Dynetics does it and happy when SpaceX does it. You know what I mean? Personally, I'm okay with it. If Dynetics thinks they have something, the court will figure it out. You know why? Because this is fundamentally based off of engineering. This is why I don't mind discussing like Rule 8 stuff, like political stuff, when it comes to spaceflight policy, because the policy is still rooted in engineering. No, you can't get to the moon riding on hopes and dreams. You really can't. Like, that's not how that works. We know that's not how that works. If we wanted to get there on hopes and dreams, there'd be a Soviet flag up there too. Too savage? Too savage? Too savage. Shouldn't do my man Sergey like that. Pretty sure there would be an EJ flag up there too, yeah. Speak for yourself. I even have a moon cheese converter for fuel. No, because they would be. Dynetics wouldn't win in the first place since their evaluation was horrible. How can their evaluation be good when NASA moves the goalposts, Swishio? See what I mean, dude? And once again, guys, it's not... Swish, I agree with you. The other options weren't financially viable, even if HLS was fully funded. Even if, the executive branch went to Congress and said, we need $10 billion. We need $10 billion for HLS. And they're like, all right, here you go. Here's your $10 billion. Haha, money printer. Go. Brrr. Even if that would happen, Dynetics still wouldn't have gotten chosen. So I agree with you here on this one, but You got to remember, this is law. This is legal. We're getting into legal precedents now. So it doesn't matter if it makes sense. It has to make legal sense too. So, you know how I always say, guys, there's a time to be technical? You know, like, there's a time to be semantic? In the court of law, semantics is king. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? See what I'm talking about? It doesn't matter if it doesn't matter. That does not matter here. If they think NASA moves the goalposts, you can be dang sure they're going to be vocal about it and take it right to the GAO. Technically correct is the best kind of correct. Oh, God. It hurts saying that. I usually hate that stuff. If NASA could choose 3 options for HLS, Dynetics still wouldn't have been chosen. Man, don't do them like that. Jeez, dude. K-poop is the best correct. Yep. That's the name for the first 2 lunar starships, Hopes and Dreams. Oh. Oh, that's messed up, Herdy. That is messed up. Oh my God. That's messed up, dude. Rip to that guy. Oh my God. I gotta head out. Good luck with this. It's fine. Guys, yeah, I mean, they might have nothing. They probably don't have nothing. NASA's gonna be like, NASA's probably gonna say what you guys are saying, but in legal terms. We couldn't have chose you even if we got funded. Sorry. Bye. You know? Don't worry about this. It's just par for the course, dudes. I mean, I could have just summed it up with that, you know? Did HLS have to be from U.S. companies? NASA isn't in the business of making other companies money, or making other countries money, C-22. They have international cooperation, but who else has, what other, I mean, I suppose it could. I would wonder if there's any, chaos with a 1-year resub. I would wonder if there's any companies out there overseas that want to build a lunar lander? National team is out even if they got funded. The part of requesting funds up front automatically disqualifies them. It was a very well indicated point in the procurement. Well, let's just say you're not very likely to ever see an Ariane rocket fly with a meatball logo on it, right? It's rare, but it does happen. I mean, James Webb Space Telescope is launching on Ariane 5. My grandmother has launched the same amount of payload to low Earth orbit as Blue Origin. Oof. Oofta. Yeah, but qualified, be careful with that. That doesn't make any sense. It's a false equivalency right there. The reason why is because launching stuff into orbit has nothing to do with landing on the moon. Once again, legal jargon, remember? It absolutely does, and with common sense, oh yeah, absolutely. If you can't launch something into low Earth orbit, how the hell are you going to get to the moon? But, keep in mind, the framework for the contract is built around getting from rectilinear halo orbit down to the surface. Understand that. There's a lot of reasons why people don't like lawyers. Okay? There's a lot of reasons. Well, the ESM is there for Orion. Oh, yeah, that piece of junk. I mean, yeah, it is. No, it's alright. The ESM's a good module. It just... I don't know why we would not ever want the capsule to get down to low lunar orbit, but that's just me. That is a contracted service. It doesn't fall under ITAR. Yeah. Oh, God, Swishio. Jeez. There's a reason why sharks don't eat lawyers. Professional courtesy. Hey, man. It pays to understand a little bit of legal stuff. Hey, now, don't speak for my species. I think the Steam Rocket Company can make a moon lander for sure. Oh, oh, oh. Hey, Snake, what's going on? Lawyers shouldn't have to exist. Yeah, I disagree with that one. Cheers. Do you think there's any flaws with the Artemis program? Babish, I will precurse this, since we're going to get all legal speaky here. No, I will precurse this with saying that I do like the Artemis program. It's a step in the right direction, but I do think it's very important to be able to critique something that you like, okay? I understand that people throw around critiques of the Artemis program and critiques of SLS all day. They throw it around like free candy, okay? Like, I get it. I understand that. I disagree with it. Because I think the reasons that people bark up the SLS program's tree is the wrong reasons. You want to know what my criticisms of SLS are? Here. They moved the core stage of SLS to the VAB. No, that's not where my problem is. I was actually really happy. But they're going to put a Delta 4 stage on top of that. My critique of the Artemis program and subsequently SLS has always been that it's not concrete enough mission architecture. All right? Do you see all the problems that are stemming here from building the rocket first and figuring out the missions later? That's a really, really bad way of doing business, especially if you want to get to the moon on any timely scale. Because stuff like this happens. Imagine if they had awarded a better upper stage for SLS and a lunar lander contract in 2014 or in 2015. This would be completely different, wouldn't it? We would have been past this point by now. And the lunar lander would be pretty much finished and ready to go on for an SLS rocket sometime next year or something like that. I don't know. See what I'm talking about? That's my critique with it. My critique with it is that it's not comprehensive enough. And now I know what people are going to say. People are going to say, well, if you gave out all this contract now, wouldn't the program be more expensive? Yes, it would be more expensive. But we would also get something out of it now, wouldn't we? Hello? That's right, Swishio. The EUS should have been designed with SLS from the start. It should have been designed like that from the start. Putting an interim stage up there for testing was dumb. That was a stupid idea. That was a stupid idea. The SLS should have come with a capsule. It should have come with a lunar lander out of the box. That should have been what you should have done. That should have been what you should have done first, and then figure out applications for it later, like building a gateway or doing what else. It should come with the lander and the capsule out of the box. SLS was born with no pathway to the moon at all. No pathway. You know why? Because we decided we've been there already. Oops. Let's go to Mars instead. That'll be so much easier. Yeah, hindsight is 2020, except it's not, Rocket Guy. Hindsight is freaking... Hindsight is like 2010, because they made the same mistake with the space shuttle. Like...
I have a bad case of diarrhea.
K-poop! Yeah, it went from moon to Mars, just to Mars, to moon to asteroid redirect, just to asteroid redirect, now to moon. That's your problem. Hindsight is 2020, but no one saw what happened that year coming. The irony, yeah, I know, right? People leave. I have a bad case of diarrhea. No, that's my problems. SLS is just all over the place. It was designed to do this, and then they were like, nah, maybe not. And now that now that it's finally coalescing and getting to something that's tangible, now, like, we're running into even more problems like this because we didn't have comprehensive architecture from the start. And unfortunately, as much as I hate saying this, that comes from legislation. And the legislation comes from the executive branch. We have to have a concrete spaceflight policy that is a good roadmap over a long period of time and award the contracts for that fiscal responsibility over time to create a long-term sustainable spaceflight program. All right, what does that mean in plain English? Don't do something crazy. Do something that's realistic in your tenure in Rule 8. Do something that's realistic. But if you have small, realistic goals over time, like landing in 2024, which is one of those things, then you can create a more sustainable spaceflight program. That's the thing. That's why I like Constellation so much, because that's exactly what that was. And then they decided, no, we don't want to do that because we already been there. No, it'd be the SpaceX and NASA business. I designed a dump truck, but I have no dirt to move. Yep. I wonder what a clean sheet design moon rocket by NASA would look like. The Saturn V. Saturn V. I think 1 launch per year for the Jupiter 4 cadence is too low to make enough regular people interested in space. Agreed. 3. 2 to 3. It needs to launch 2 to 3 times a year. I mean, Phil, your clean sheet moon rocket by NASA would look like the Saturn V because that's basically what it is. Saturn V is a great design. It's fantastic. Really smart, really well thought out. Is the whole BFR... So Mine Drive, it's not called BFR, it's Starship. BFR is a different rocket, believe it or not. Is the whole of Starship going to land on the moon? That. It looks like that. That's going to land on the moon. Yes, without the wings. Yeah, just, I'm in technically correct mode, but yeah, I know what you mean. BFR refers to the 2017 thing that doesn't have the flappy wings. It's a different rocket, believe it or not. Do you want to see what Lunar Starship will look like? It's pretty rad. This was the latest bit of concept art that SpaceX released when they got awarded the HLS contract. Bring back ITS? That'd be nice. Yep. I agree, Hellfish. Imagine surrendering a unique capability under the guise of money. That's really funny to me. Still going, by the way. 1 hour later. How would they return to Earth? Orion. The Orion capsule. Guys, this is what I like about HLS, and this is why I like that NASA picked this. Why I like that NASA picked Starship. Because now we have 2 super heavy launch vehicles on the books. Like, NASA has 2 super heavy launch vehicles on the books. SLS and Starship. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want 1 less rocket to get to the moon? What did I just start saying about how, you know, surrendering capability, like going to the moon is better? Oh yeah. Huh. Funny how that works. Imagine simply throwing away the ability to build it. No, that was a mistake. It was a big mistake. Starship with the worm logo on it is just... tasty. Just about every NASA program has been hamstrung by too wide of a scope. Apollo was successful because they built a single integrated architecture to do a single thing very well. Then they tried to make Apollo do other things, which is not a good idea. Then we had the reusability error with the shuttle that scope creaked to hell. Air Force, I'm looking at you. Then we lost the vision and are back with too many requirements to close the design around. Yeah, we need to start simple with another Falcon. I mean, Falcon 9 is a pretty good start. It starts simple again with just another Saturn V style rocket, but it needs to have explicit purpose. That's my critique with the SLS program. It's not that it's expensive. It should have been more expensive. And I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but if you paid for an integrated architecture, i.e. a direct surface to the moon from the start, then you could make that thing do other things. Then you could do all the other things that you could have wanted the rocket to do. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Mary got an alert for tomorrow. Cool. I like watching past EJ and seeing if the predictions come true or not. You said something like, a Starship on SLS would be the ultimate rocket, but it's not possible. We did the math, then I laughed. Oh, past EJ. Well, it's not launching on SLS. Lunar Starship is not launching on SLS. It's much too heavy. Even though I really would like that. Go back to your roots. Go to the moon before this decade is out. Yep. Could Super Heavy launch with an expendable giant fairing? I don't think that SpaceX ever wants to do something like that, O-Force, but I think if SpaceX was paid enough to do something like that, they would. What's the intended use of Wing Starship at the moment? It's a reusable second stage, Tars. Reusing shuttle parts seems good on paper, but it's a new lifter and the shuttle parts were not good to begin with for this application. I mean, Rocket Guy, Ares 5, you know where I stand on that. I agree. I'll take the 5-segment boosters and some RS-68s and a J2X. For me, the plan really isn't clear at this point. Will they fly Starship to lunar orbit in advance? Yes. So Lunar Starship, this thing, is going to launch into space, and then it's going to be refueled up to 10 times. Yes, 10. And then it's going to go, with a full tank of gas, it's going to go out to the lunar orbit, to rectilinear halo orbit. It'll dock to the gateway, and then SLS will go out on Orion. Are you going to cover all the Starship launches? Every single one, when they do that, yes. How's the finless Lunar Starship going to be able to land back on Earth without the fins? It doesn't, Shell. You said it right in the name. It's a Lunar Starship. This is a lander. This is a lander. It's a lunar lander. It's not Starship base model. So, here. Here, take a look. I want to show you something. Oh, it's stuck in my head too. All right, so give me one moment. All right, so Shell, what's that? Seriously, just I mean the name is up there. It's up in the URL. So how many times can it land on the moon with 8 or 9 fully fueled tanks? Depends on the payload. Also touch on the fact that lunar starships will be built like shuttle orbiters, meaning it's to be meticulously assembled and qualified as an object, not as a product. So, that's a 767, right? Explicitly designed to move people, all right? Can this plane do the same thing? That's a KC-46. Can that plane do the exact same thing as that plane? Nice, Geek. It's an upload? Yeah. Can the KC-46 do the same thing as a 767? Not without modification. That's Starship. So the Lunar Starship is a variation. It's a lander variant of regular Starship, just like a KC-46 is a tanker variant of a 767. That's what I'm talking about. That's what it means. So In that architecture shell, SpaceX launches Starship. Starship goes up into low Earth orbit. They refuel it a bunch of times depending on payload. It could take 5 to 10 times depending on what you want to move to the lunar surface, okay? Then Starship will boost itself out to the gateway or into the orbit where gateway is, and it'll sit there. It'll just station keep there, like a satellite. Lunar Starship can do that. SLS will launch with Orion, either in a Block 1 or a Block 1B configuration, and it'll send the Orion capsule out there. The Orion capsule will dock with Lunar Starship in a rectilinear halo orbit, and then they go down to the moon with Starship, do their thing on the surface, come back up, get back in the Orion capsule, and then come home Apollo style. Show that mission architecture in KSP. I pretty much did. We pretty much did, only the only difference is the dark part. Do you think a lunar landing pad will be a thing since regular starships can then be used? Yes. What do they do with the lunar starship once it's out of fuel? You could send it back to Earth. You could refuel it once in rectilinear halo orbit with a disposable tanker variant of Starship.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Send it back into low Earth orbit, refuel it, and do it again. You got to keep in mind that SpaceX is working off the principle that they're going to fly Starship as frequently as a plane. Thanks for explaining. Ah, I gotcha. So they use Lunar Starship to go from the gateway down to the moon. Correct. It's a lander. That's what HLS is. Hey, J-Shelf. 1 year. Can't believe it's been so long already. My brother got me watching you when Dragon first went to the ISS. I've learned more than I ever thought I would. And now you're my favorite streamer to watch. Thanks, man. Remember, it's hip to be square. You like Huey Lewis in the news? They're okay. Aren't the Van Allen belts an issue when moving too far out from Earth? How did Apollo avoid that? So, the answer, Pixel, is right in the name. It's a belt. It's not a sphere. It's not like Earth has a force field around it of radiation. The magnetic sphere has holes in it, or else the boreals wouldn't exist. The Apollo program went around the belts. They actually skirted the belts for science, if you really want to know. They flew through them. They skirted the outer edges of the magnetic field, and they used a magnetometer up there, and they got a lot of data on how the Van Allen belts work from the Apollo program. That right there in itself is another way to show that's, if you guys recall Jim's final message for NASA, that in itself is a way to show why human spaceflight operations can support scientific missions inadvertently. We learned a ton about the magnetic field from the Apollo missions. We learned a ton because they skirted the Van Allen belts. We learned a ton about lunar reconnaissance. We learned a ton about deep space EVAs. We learned a ton about how solar ionic radiation works. We learned a ton of things that had nothing to do with landing people on the moon. They tacked a bunch of science programs onto the Apollo program. That's what the Apollo Applications program was. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's funny, Pixel, I get, like, the crazies come in there, and they're like, how did they get through the Van Allen belts? I'm like, they went around it. And they're like, what? You can do that? I'm like, it's a belt! It's not a sphere! It says it right in the name! It's right in the name! What are you doing? What's wrong with you? Blue Steel, Ferrari, Laticra? They're the same thing! J-Shelf gifted a sub to Run Forest Run. Thank you. Yeah, they still won't believe me. I got one guy to believe me once, Draco. He was like, oh, that's actually a really good point. Wait, how did they do that again? I'm like, all right, I'll show you. I know it's too far into the future, but after Mars, where do you think our next target would be? I'd aim for either Venus or Ceres. Yeah, you know what the funny thing is, Mind Drive? Mars wasn't always the next target. You know where the Apollo program wanted to go after they landed on the moon? They wanted to go to Venus. Straight up. Because it'd be rude not to. No, they were going to do a Venus flyby. Life hack, use all 3 dimensions, not 2 of them. This space agency, Kyle, figured out how to use 3 dimensions. Flat earthers hate them. Wait, that's actually true. Alright, never mind, that got too real. Switchio, Starship Venus flyby? Could do it. Sure, why not? How long is it of a trip to Venus? Shorter than Mars? Venus is closer. Seriously, it's closer. IMO, Enceladus is better than Venus. Yeah, but Venus is closer. The moon is harder to live on than Mars, but we don't see. I don't see anybody saying Mars for. Well, okay. Well, those people would be wrong, but 3-dimensional guidance is actually quite difficult. Star trackers for the win. Do we have more frequent flybys for Venus? Yeah. The transfer window is less, if I remember right. It's less than Mars. Because it's closer. It's closer. Well, actually, further away would be more transfer windows. Closer would actually be less transfer windows. Interesting. But it would take less time. Orbital mechanics is all backwards, dudes. It's all backwards. You got to speed up to slow down. You got to turn left to go right. It's basically space drifto. Doesn't Venus take more delta V because it's closer to the sun? I'd have to go look. Nani? Nani? Kansai drifto. I mean, actually, it's not like drifto. It's more like NASCAR. See, NASCAR is a metaphor for your life. We are on a planet orbiting around the sun, going 66,000 miles an hour. I want to go fast. And what is Earth doing but going fast and turning left? You just blew my freaking mind, man. Yep. Go fast, turn left. Raise hell, praise Dale. It's a metaphor for your life. If you ain't first, you're last. Hell yeah, brother. Remember the Russian probe that went down and died in 2 hours? Yeah, the Venera program. Yep. There's no left in space. In local axis orientation, there absolutely is. Stop talking. Life is incredibly boring, so yeah, it works. Ooh. 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 I'd definitely like to see a deeper dive into transfer windows, and don't forget, June is your nuclear deep dive month. Yeah. Character 10-month resub. It's human nature to stretch, to go see, to understand exploration is not a choice. It's an imperative. Michael Collins. Yep. Yep. I'm going to my first cup race this weekend. Any tips? Enjoy it. Don't spend time on your phone. Sit back and enjoy it. Put your phone in your pocket and leave it there. I'm looking for your lasts. What is your last Angry Pixel? Oh, another paragraph. So, to go around the Van Allen belts, is it a lot different from an ideal trajectory, or would that be the most efficient way to get to the moon, take you around the Van Allen belts? It's not the most efficient way to get there, but it's the way that won't kill you. So it is the most efficient way to get there, because you won't die. Nobody ever bothers to ever see my last, Joseph. They just want to talk about things. They just want to talk about what they want. Chat's just... You always ask me when hop, but you never ask me how hop. Okay? You always ask when, EJ. You never ask how, EJ. Show last. Bring earplugs. Yeah, it's loud. Yeah, it's loud. I know. He was a mad lad, O-Force. Why hop? What hop? Where hop? Texas. Why hop? Because reasons. No, I said show last. Why do you make my job harder? I'm not, you know what? No, I'm not. No. How am I? No, you can't ask it now that I said to ask it. No. You don't care. You don't care about my well-being. What? Here, look at this picture. No, it's okay, Angry Pixel. Don't worry about it. I'm just giving you guys crap. IHOP. Ah, now I'm hungry, Zeros. Why? Electron's gearing up for more launches, and their next one should be another one that they try to fish out from the water. I have a question. How could this happen? How did this happen? Let me take a look. I know what happened. It's pretty obvious, actually, when you look at it. And now, before you say I'm full of crap, no, this isn't staged. No, I've never seen this photo before. So, take a look. Some details here. The right side tire is popped. So this plane had a tire pop. It had a tire pop on the when it was coming in for a landing. Okay. Second thing, the nose cone's gone. Third thing, this is an SU-27. I forget the variant, but it's the SU-27 that has canards on the front. I get it. Oh, EJ hates canards. Well, that's very telling here. The canards are pointed down, which meaning that the last input from the pilot was joystick forward, okay? So what does that tell me? This plane came in for a landing, a tire popped, it veered off the runway, the pilot pushed the stick forward to try and slow it down, it went off the runway, dug into the mud, because it is muddy, nose wheel, which is also muddy, went into the ground, and the plane flipped over. Nose down first because the nose cone's wrecked. There you go. How do you explain the elevator up then? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I can't explain that one. It's just sunbathing, guys. It looks like they ejected, though. I don't see an ejector seat detonator here, no. The seats are still in it. You can see them. 1 and 2, right there. If this is the variant of the Sukhoi that I'm thinking of, there should be 2... No, that's a different version. I think it stalled on takeoff and rolled over. That's an SU-30. Yeah, the 30 is the variant... Wait, hold on. Let me just check. I need to look now. Is that the one where the people are side by side? No. They're front to back. And it has canards. It's a canard version of an SU-27. Yeah, I got it. Okay, cool. Would you be okay if the SLS second stage is always going to be the EUS instead of the interim stage? Yes, Ryan, that would be fine. SU-34 is the one that's side to side. Yeah, I don't think that's an SU-34. I'm stuck in the mud. Well, yeah, I mean, the nose cone and the tire is pretty telling. It blew a tire during landing, and then it veered off the runway, and the guy tried to compensate for it. Help me, SU-30. I mean, that's just looking at the picture. I don't know, man. Help me, ground service crew. I'm stuck in the mud. What are you doing? What's amazing is that it probably can be repaired. As long as the airframe is intact, yeah, sure, why not? And even then. I'd be worried about metal fatigue. That's why planes that seemingly like veer off a runway, like that's why they scrap them. Because even though they look right, doesn't mean that they are. You could have fatigued the metal in a way that wasn't originally foreseen by the engineers. And then you could go be flying around that plane later and the wing could fall off. What are canards for? Air superiority fighting. I imagine planes are designed with crush cores. Not really. They're designed to bend, drummer, not break. That's what the 154 meme is. Planes are designed to bend. But that's the thing. If you're bending like this, you fatigue the metal over time. Just like if you take a soda can and you take the tab and then it pops eventually. That's why airplane flight hours on an aircraft is so damn important. Because the plane can only take so many takeoffs and landings before it becomes dangerous. Somebody said it in chat. Aluminum has microfractures in it. And microfractures to an airplane is what rust is to a car. If you have too many of it, the car just falls apart. Airplanes do the same thing. Then why doesn't the US use them? Because we can just make a plane that flies better? Oh, jeez, Petty, that's crazy. Yeah, drummer, planes don't so much have crush cores. Crush cores are basically an application where you need to be able to survive a certain amount of compression. A crush core would be more akin to a crumple zone. So airplanes, if you're in a collision with an airplane, I'm pretty sure crumple zones are the last thing you want to worry about. Now, drummer, with that being said, you know what vehicle that flies is designed with a crush core in it? Who knows? There are certain vehicles that fly through the air that have crush cores in them on purpose. It's a crumple zone. The shuttle? No. No. That has a crumple zone in it. The whole frame of this drummer is a crumple zone that's designed to protect the crew. Basically, everything shatters on this helicopter and everything breaks on this helicopter before the crew compartment. Yeah. So, like the nose, crush core. The back of it, it's designed... A Black Hawk has a bulkhead that's right here. You can actually see it. The Black Hawk has a bulkhead right there that if the thing tail strikes, it's not going to break where the people are, but it'll snap the tail off. So, helicopters do have crush cores in them. Airplanes, not so much. Yeah, it's designed to protect the crew in the event of a helicopter crash. The reason why they designed the UH-60 that way is from helicopters getting shot down in Vietnam. The Hueys didn't have that. The Hueys didn't have a crush core. They wouldn't protect you if the thing crashed. And Vietnam proved that helicopters are extremely susceptible to small... The lights just flash off? They're extremely susceptible to small arms fire. And helis have a much larger chance of falling out of the sky. Exactly. They found you. Run for it, Marty! I knew about helicopters having crush zones. That's what made me wonder about... No, if your plane crashes, you hitting the ground and being okay is probably the last thing you should worry about. Large airplanes do have a crush core just behind the cockpit. Yeah, they call that the crew compartment. or the passengers. I don't think you want that crushing. Hence Black Hawk Down. I mean, yeah, that's one of the examples, yeah. Marcel. Yeah. Unless helos have deployable fixed wings for safety, I won't trust them. They do. What are you talking about, Raider? They do. What do you think that thing spinning up above you, keeping you in the air is? What would you call that? Just out of curiosity. Hey, plan for Dart now. I don't know, Villo. Second picture, Kowalski analysis now. Yeah, that looks like it did exactly what I said it did, Forge. Interesting. Unironically, when's next hop? No, don't try to cloak when hop with me with when next hop. Don't try to cloak that. Here, this should answer that question. This is Mary got it. Potential risk to health and safety. SpaceX will conduct spaceflight activities on May 1st, 2021 from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. Looks like we got hop tomorrow. Did we talk about Ingenuity? Ingenuity had a problem. It wouldn't go into flight mode, but they're fixing it right now. Oh, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. Oh, dear. Apparently, earlier, the Su-34 skidded off the runway when the brake parachute failed to deploy. The aircraft turned over. None of the crew was hurt. Also, this was in 2016. Nice. 5 a.m. local? No, you got that backwards. 5 a.m. Central is 6 a.m. Eastern, drummer. The heli was flown? It flew today? Guys, it flew today. They fixed it. It flew today. I don't know if you knew that. They did helicopter on Mars. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Is that what you're trying to tell me, that they did helicopter on Mars?
Hello, sir. Good news. The surgery was a complete success, and everything went amazing. We successfully did surgery on a grape.
All right. Did I get the audio? Or is this a test? Is this a test, sir?
My Rafflecopter goes swa 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 swa.
Pray, what did you say there? Relating aircraft stress cycles to Starship. That's why they'll never make the flaps from aluminum or composites. Applying stainless universally simplifies tracking Starship's life cycle enough to make the dry mass cost worth it. Yep. Do you think there will be a plane on Mars in the next 50 years? Planes would be a little bit more difficult to fly on Mars, Reinken. But maybe. It's possible. Wasn't that supposed to be Ingenuity's last flight? I'm not sure, Ryan. Maybe. Microsoft Sam, you don't fail me. No, I am well versed in applied internet memetics. I am a meme veteran. Let me demonstrate.
I have a bad case of diarrhea.
I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of...
You're pulling an all-nighter for the crew one return. Most likely, anesthesist. Yeah. Dear God, why? Again! I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's so funny. That's a crappy situation to be in. Yep. I love aircraft-grade aluminum products. I can simulate the loads, force I apply them, and search its life cycle in your textbook. Well, I'll tell you what. Are you racing tonight? Yeah. Do not cite deep magic to me, witch. I was there when it was written. Did you just call me a witch, Irlani? Wouldn't it be a warlock? No, I'm just kidding. I only just got that song out of your head. I have a bad case of diarrhea. How are you? Fine, thank you. Oh my god! They turned me into a newt. What about a wardrobe instead? A wardrobe? No, Ryan. No, I wouldn't. A warlock, I think. We have derailed. Last, please. Okay. Maybe something like this, Unmanned on Mars? Yeah, it would have to look something like that. It would be something with really big wings and something with a really small fuselage. It would look bizarre. Oh, we derailed an hour ago. Oh yeah, did we, drummer? Well, guess what? Now this is happening.
Of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea.
Alright. Wait, what the heck is this? Huh. I think this song is banned under a UN Convention on Psychological Warfare, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I can't play it. I was going to play the most annoying sound in the world. Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Any more space news? There might be. Yeah, Jim, I got some space news for you. You ready? Here, let me play the video. Just kidding, here you go. Let's see what we got. So Austin Barnard took these pictures. Let's see, it's a picture of another Raptor being delivered. I'm currently listening to the most annoying sound in the world currently. Allow myself to introduce myself. Yeah, Jim, it looks good, man. She do be good, though. Yes, the rocket actually. So Raptor changed its they changed in the new block upgrades. They changed how the motor runs a little bit. It doesn't use a full flow stage combustion cycle anymore. This is brand new information that I found out. Damn it, I lost it. I was gonna say it's meme rich. I lost it. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I couldn't continue the joke. It's meme-a-locks? Yep. See? That's the meme line. I blew it. Sorry. Sorry, nothing's worth living anymore. And I'm out of coffee. No. I'm sorry. I'm usually good at keeping a straight face. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Hold on now, Jeff. Has it? I must have missed that.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Good. Hold on now, Jeff. I don't know. And Jeb is dead. If you... I'll play it. I'll play it. Don't think that I will. Won't. I don't know, man. I am the meme pre-burner. What's that, John? Apprentice school at Newport News Shipbuilding expands programs to offer academic degrees. Nice. That's cool. It's getting weird, Jerry. It's not a mission mode if Jeb isn't dead, and this has been true for the last 2 mission modes. Bro, this is the first mission mode where I've ever... Oh, no. This is the 6th time we've killed Jebediah, and let me assure you, we are getting increasingly good at it. I think I've killed, let's see, first mission mode, I never killed him. Second mission mode with the shuttle, there was CTS-50, so he died. The third mission mode with the shuttle, no, he never died. He went to the moon, Minmus, and Duna, and he's still alive in that mission mode. And then there's this mission mode, and he went to the moon before he died. Raptor versus RS-25. You're comparing a pickup truck to a dragster. It's hard to equate them, Ryan. Actually, you're not comparing a pickup truck to a dragster, Ryan. What that really is doing is comparing like an old Mustang from the 60s to a new Mustang. Now, there is cutting edge for the time period, right? So, 67 Mustang, right, would be really, that was a really fast car for the time. So, like a 67 GT350, very fast car. The Super Cobra Jet Mustang from 69, that was really fast. It was so fast that Ford had to lie on the freaking... They had to lie about the horsepower, citing crank horsepower instead of wheel horsepower to keep the insurance down. Thing had like 800 horse or something. It's something absurd. Now, and that was like a very rare car. Nowadays, you see stuff like a Hellcat or a Shelby GT350 KR that will blow the doors off that thing. The shuttle engine was awesome for its time. You got to remember, Ryan, they designed that shuttle engine was designed on paper. On paper. No computers. No computers. Nothing. It was designed with blueprints, which is ridiculous. Wait, which Mustang had that much? The Super Cobra Jet. In NASCAR, Ford needed an answer to Chrysler's Hemi engine, the RB. So, yeah, no, Hemi was not RB. It was the second gen Hemi. Ford needed an answer, so Ford made their own Hemi. Yeah, the 429. Yep. Ford's 429 Super Cobra Jet had like, it was factory rated at like 400 horsepower. In reality, it had like 600 horsepower. Those cars are extremely rare. They only made enough for homologation rules because back then NASCAR was actually about running stock cars. What? Is Thomas crap posting from orbit? What is he doing? Sorry, ESA. Congratulations, Thomas Pesquet, on crossing 1 million followers on Twitter and approaching 2 million on Facebook. Sorry, ESA. As long as Kim Kardashian has more followers than me, I have no choice but to stay on the ISS. What? What? Huh. See, you can be cool, but you're never going to be Thomas Pesquet cool, okay? There's cool, and then there's that cool, all right? Yeah, Space Explorer, right? You can be cool, but you're never gonna beat Thomas Pesquet cool, alright? You've met him a few times, he's really cool. I like that he's cheeky. Space Explorer, he likes screwing with people. That's my favorite part. That's my favorite. He likes to, Thomas was that guy. He was that guy that liked screwing with people. But never in a way that pissed people off. It's always the fun, the cheeky kind of screwing with people. I like that. That's cool. Nah, he never qualified on a U.S. Navy nuclear propulsion plant. I mean, okay. I like how he just screws with people. That's my favorite part. I think it's hilarious, to be honest. You know, I always like, you know, and every astronaut is like this. It's just that some astronauts aren't good at, like, having the camera in their face. Every astronaut I've met like this, where you meet them, like, not in a formal environment, they're all cool. They're all just like, yeah, yeah, I got launched into space. That's pretty ridiculous. Like, I've talked to Garrett Reisman before. I interviewed him at Intrepid. He was cool. That guy was super cool. Mike Massimino, those guys are funny as hell. Like, I was like, you've launched into space. He's like, yeah, I know, right? Like, I know. It's crazy, huh? I'm like, yeah, that is pretty crazy, actually. Like, yes, yeah, that is in fact pretty nuts. Where's that picture? And I've talked to Mike Massimino. I'm like, you launched into space. What's that like? He was like, 10 out of 10. Everybody should do it. And I'm like, right. Space lasers. The Orion Artemis II optical communication system project successfully completed integration and flight alignment of their optical module. The terminal will provide NASA Artemis astronauts with ultra-high definition video and enhanced data capabilities using lasers. You're talking about Late Dale's Racing Trucks. Late Dale's Racing Trucks. Hint, search YouTube. Cletus McFarland. He drag races one of his trucks. Marcel, implying I don't know who Cletus McFarland is. Do you think I don't know who Cletus McFarland is? You see this? Do you see this? Come on now. Come on now. Praise hell, praise Dale, brother. I've been following... What was the first time I started following Cletus when he bought Neighbor. That was the first time I watched him. Oh yeah. Yeah, I've been following him for a long while. Cause I remember when he first bought Neighbor, cause I was... Strangest thing, okay? And we'll go over into Kerbal now. The strangest thing is that when you're a car guy, you have like different tastes. Your car palette changes over time, which is weird. You like stuff now that you might not like in the future. I at the time was really into Crown Vics, and I thought Crown Vics were cool, and I still do. I mean, I'll buy one eventually. I still like them. So I started looking around for Crown Vics. And then I was like, wait a minute, the Crown Vic uses a modular engine. So you could theoretically swap a 5.4 or a 5.0 because they're made on the same assembly line. You could swap that into a Crown Vic. So I started looking for people that did that, and I came up on Neighbor. And the first video I watched was, the first Cletus video I watched was when they were going to put a Coyote in it. They were going to put a 5-liter in it.
Go at throttle up.
And then they bought a salvaged Mustang from the body shop next door. It's not the body shop next door. They own that building now. And they bought the 5.4. That was the first Cletus episode I watched. That's an old episode, man. Yeah, you can't see it because of the headphones, but yeah. Why buy a Crown Vic when you could just buy this? That's a key. I don't get the joke. Hey, Ninjax, 613 sub. I can't get enough space news. People really like space news. Also, it's Victor Glover's birthday, by the way. Oh, C-22. I'm an idiot. Yeah, okay. Okay. I see what... Yeah, Ford's ignition barrels are not the best. Yep. Yep. The F-250s and the F-150s are the same way. Ask me how I know. Don't ask. Oh, boy. Did you did you cover any of the issues with the 5B re-entry? I mentioned it briefly, Redline, but yeah, I mean, yeah, that Long March 5 upper stage is in an uncontrolled descent, you know, because that's going to end well. Yeah, that joke flew over my head. It's very rare. Savor the flavor, because it doesn't happen very often. Also, I just want to look at this picture again. All right. It flew over and whacked you in the back of the head. Sneaky, go drive your minivan. Now go get your frickin' shine box. Did you see the party that they had? With that commie booster already in an uncontrollable descent, would it be good as an ASAT target? Hell no. That's a really bad idea. John, that's not how we fight in space, dude. Yeah, Toma would be a sax guy. Toma would be, yeah, he would be a saxophone guy. Noguchi-sama would, yeah, he'd be an electric piano. That makes perfect sense. Yep. Yep. And Victor would be the tambourine guy or the clap line. Yep. 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 Were the Russians not invited? I don't know. Needs more cowbell? Yeah. Victor would be, I mean, he's the clap guy. Well, tuba? No, tubas are too heavy. I mean, is Epic Sax guy? Is Epic Sax Grab Shark? Do you think Epic Sax guy is DMCA? Oh yeah, they did invite the Russians. There you go. So that's from Oleg Novitsky. Nice. Yeah, I can't play Epic Sax guy. I had it teed up too. Can't do it. That's cool to see so many people up on the ISS, man. That really makes me happy. Play Epic Sax on. Oh, Thomas Sax? I'd have to sit there and listen to it. All right. Anyway. Yeah, no. Fine, Chem. Practice makes perfect. Kerbal time? Kerbal time. Let's figure out what we need to do. Because we have a big poop sandwich to pick up. Sadie knows the Russian one better than the US one. I play both of them bad on purpose. But can you play K-poop? Yes, I can. Okay, I'll switch this over to Kerbal. We have a lot of things to mess with. This is picking up the pieces of a failed lunar program. Mission mode, part 135. Have you seen the sign on top of the A10? Yeah, haha, A10 go brr. Sounds better than the original. Starts looking for something sharp.